Welcome back to On the Rise, as Canada has been crowned the first ever champions of the Canadian Shield. But it didn't come easy for Jesse Marsch and the Canadian men's national team, as they opened the tournament with a win and a 4-2 victory over Ukraine, and their first win against a European nation since 2011. They then followed that up with a 0-0 draw, a scoreless performance against Cote d'Ivoire, and this performance had so many lessons learned, had so many takeaways for Jesse Marsch in terms of position battles and in terms of the depth chart. Well, more so that his team now will bend but will not break or fold. And that is a very exciting thing for Jesse Marsch to take forward into the Gold Cup, into a major tournament, and leading in to the 2026 World Cup. Well, we're going to break down this Cote d'Ivoire versus Canada game, guys, giving you guys my thoughts, predictions, takeaways, and everything in between. But before we do, guys, drop down below in the comments, let me know your thoughts and takeaways from Canada versus Cote d'Ivoire. Make sure to smash that like button, it really helps out the content, and hit that sub button as we move closer to 700 subscribers. But this game had so many lessons to be learned that Jesse Marsch would have probably enjoyed more so than the 4-2 win against Ukraine. That might be crazy to say, but learning more about your team in a result where you still get a point, you don't get beaten, you don't give up any particularly major chances against the champions of Africa, is a huge takeaway. We got to remember, Canada came out with their B team in this game. This wasn't a true strongest lineup for Canada. It was very far from it. While when you look at the other side in Cote d'Ivoire, they came to the Canadian Shield with both eyes set on playing the Canadian men's national team and set on beating a host nation at the World Cup in Canada, and making a statement at doing that by leaving their A team to rest against New Zealand and coming to beat Canada no matter what. And boy, did that plan go to fail, because Cote d'Ivoire completely did not beat Canada at all. Yes, they were on the front foot. Yes, they played decently well, but they only created one true major chance in this game, a header that sailed wide, which they should have scored but didn't. Outside of that, Jesse Marsch only saw Dane St. Clair make one save throughout this match. Dane St. Clair was very rarely called upon in this game. Yes, he was cool, calm, collected on the ball, very accurate with his passes, and slowed the game down when he needed to. Outside of that, Dane St. Clair was never in major fear throughout this match. Yes, Cote d'Ivoire was frightening at some circumstances, but Canada came up trumps with some major tackles throughout this game, whether it's Joel Waterman, whether it's Jaden Nelson, Sam Adekubi came up big once or twice, Derek Cornelius, even Nico Seor when he came on. Canada, defensively, was good when they needed to be. Yes, they were on the back foot for most of this game, but there was never any major chances where Canada looked like they were going to get scored on outside of that header. And the fact that this was Canada's B team against Cote d'Ivoire's A team, and a side who is the champions of Africa, means a lot. That is a huge step up for Canada. Yes, we can be disappointed we drew and we didn't get the win. We didn't play on the front foot. We didn't have a chance that saw us have a shot on target. There was still a few chances Canada could have had a big opportunity to get a shot on target. They just weren't able to hit the net. They weren't able to make that final pass in the final third and be intricate enough to have that shot on target or create that final chance that could have seen a score. But besides that, we have to remember this was a B team against an A team of Cote d'Ivoire, while in the same day we saw England fail to beat Senegal and lose 3-1. We got to remember, taking away a draw from Cote d'Ivoire is not a bad result. It's a decent result. In a World Cup, if you're going to draw a team like Cote d'Ivoire, that is not a bad thing at all, especially when Canada never looked in major scare. Yes, they created the one chance, but outside of that, there was never any true harm. The biggest thing I think about this team was we were able to bend but didn't break. We didn't fall. We never capitulated. And sometimes in other iterations of this Canadian men's national team, whether it's Mauro Biello, John Herdman, previously, this team would have capitulated. They would have folded. And the mentality is now there. Even Stefan Eustáquio said that in a post-match press conference. He said the biggest thing was how this team grew into the game, how they started to play. And it was very exciting to see that they didn't fall apart. They didn't give in when Cote d'Ivoire held the ball, when Cote d'Ivoire controlled the game, when things went wrong for Canada off the start, when Canada started to misplace passes. Throughout the match entirely, Their heads didn't drop. That was a huge thing to look at. I don't want to look at the negatives about this team overly, guys. You just got to dwell on the positives. Their heads didn't drop. They didn't give in to the negativity that was happening on the pitch. They didn't give in to the fighting from Wilfried Singo or Frank Kessie. And they played with a physical edge, but they didn't go over the top. And Jesse Marsch would have absolutely loved that from this Canadian men's national team. The biggest thing I think truly from this game has to be the bending and not folding, not breaking, not capitulating. That is a huge thing to do that against a side like Cote d'Ivoire, especially when Canada is playing their backup lineup. When you look at a tournament, when you look at a bigger nation playing them in a friendly, when you look at the World Cup, when you're playing a big game, you got to be able to stay in it. You don't got to drop your heads. You got to be able to stay mentally focused. And the fact they were able to do that throughout this entire match is a major positive for this Canadian men's national team. Because when you look at that starting lineup, how many players were starters? 2, maybe 3, which is very exciting to see that they're able to do that with a backup team. But we have to talk about this lineup. We have to talk about some of the position battles before I make some longer term videos around some of these positions, which I definitely do, guys. I will be making some position battle videos and who I think are the big talking points. But for me, someone who I was very surprised to see start was Joel Waterman. And someone I was very worried to see start was Joel Waterman next to Derek Cornelius. He's had a very difficult season for CF Montreal. Things have not gone his way or the club's way at all. But Joel Waterman got the start, and for me, I was extremely surprised by how well he played, but very happy with how well Joel Waterman played. I want to see all of our players succeed. I want to see them all play very well. And Joel Waterman proved that he is up to the level, proved that his quality is still there, and he had a very good performance. Yes, he might have only had a 6.6 match rating on FootMob, he might have had a yellow card, but his performance for me was a 7.5. It was a 7 out of 10. He made some major tackles. He made some very smart fouls when he had to. He made some key clearances and came up big when he needed to. And he was always in the right position, never making any stupid mistakes, which was very good to see from Joel Waterman and truly proved to me that right now, I would have never expected to say this, but center back to me is our deepest position. Moise Bombito, Joel Waterman, Luc de Fougerolles, Jamie Knight-Labelle, all at right center back, and you have Derek Cornelius as well to add to that list. That list is deep, and it is a true headache now for Jesse Marsch, who his second choice center back or third choice center back is behind Bombito and Cornelius. And it'll be a big headache for Jesse Marsch, who that third center back is in case of an injury in the future. But I absolutely love that all 3 of them behind those 2 starters will rise to the occasion and play with true quality. Whether it's Knight-Labelle, Luc de Fougerolles, or Joel Waterman, we can feel safe either way. But also looking at the back line, breaking down this team and their performances, was Richie Laryea and Sam Adekubi. Laryea had a decent performance. He was solid when he needed to be. Did nothing special, did nothing overly catastrophic to this team. And nothing really truly poor from Richie Laryea. But someone who had, unfortunately, a game that we have to talk about is Sam Adekubi. And it hurts me to say this, but Sam Adekubi's time with the national team has to be coming to an end. And more so due to 2 left backs on the rise, which is Zorhan Bassong and Matteo Di Brienne. Sam Adekubi in this match, albeit had a better rating than Joel Waterman, than Richie Laryea, than Jade Nelson, was extremely poor. And I'm sad to say this because I love Sam Adekubi. I think he's a great player, especially when the lead up to the World Cup in 2022 in the qualifiers had a huge role, but now his time's going to end. He's too slow. He's not able to be in the right position at the right time. He's getting too far up the pitch for the pace that he does have these days. And yes, that might be the role Jesse Marsch is asking from him, to make those overlaps, to give the width, to get high up the pitch. But when you want him to do that, he's not able to get in position quick enough. He misplaced a lot of poor passes that led to chances or led to opportunities for Cote d'Ivoire. As well, there was a lot of challenges that he just wasn't able to make. His pace was lacking. He gave up a lot of big chances and big turnovers, leading to Cote d'Ivoire opportunities, which is very unfortunate to say for Sam Adekubi. But when you have Alphonso Davies starting there, and you're talking about that position battle and who the backup should be, Zorhan Bassong for his performance against Ukraine might have nailed that down. And with Matteo Di Brienne following it up, it's looking very difficult for Sam Adekubi, and especially all the injuries he continues to get. Moving up farther up the pitch, the midfield was very poor. It was non-existent. Ismail Kone, yes, he dribbled on the ball very well a few times, created some chances, carried the ball very well. His wingers, his nines, didn't give him any options either. So that also has to be thought about as well. But Ismail Kone did win the ball back once or twice very well, had some very good dribbles. But besides that, the midfield was a true hole. It was lacking in this game, as well as Jonathan Osorio. Jonathan Osorio had a very poor performance once again, looked non-existent in this match. You just couldn't see him. They played through him. You couldn't see where he was. He was lacking the pace, was lacking the mobility, had a few key tackles in this game, but also lost possession quite a bit, which led to Cote d'Ivoire chances in this match. Ali Ahmed was decent in this game. So was Jaden Nelson, who tried to get on the final third a bit. But for me, the big talking points are up top. Kyle Larin and Daniel Jebison, which is very unfortunate. Because to start this game, Daniel Jebison had a few good touches. He had a few opportunities where he created some chances, got on the ball. Dane St. Clair hit the long ball up to him. It stuck very well. He was able to control it, take it down, and find Ali Ahmed, find Jaden Nelson, and control the play. But as the game went on, as the game got longer, he started to lose the ball more, started to play more missed passes, started to overthink things as they went wrong, which you can tell that's going to happen from such a young age, the lack of play time. And it was very poor from Daniel Jebison. It was very unfortunate to see from the young Canadian, the dual national who plays for Bournemouth. But for me, I'm not going to slander him. You can see there's potential there. You could see there's talent. His touch was good at times. Other times it was like a trampoline. You could see his smarts and his intelligence with his movement, his ability off a ball. Other moments, you could see it lacking. You could see the touch bouncing off him. You could see the inconsistency in the final third. You could see the overthinking when it didn't go well. So Daniel Jebison just needs time. He needs more minutes. If he can get time away from Bournemouth and get a loan spell where he can be the starting striker, he can be the 9, consistently play, he has the ability. And Kyle Larin, something has to happen there. I don't know if he needs the A-team behind him or something better, but he just didn't have the quality today. Yes, he won the possession a few times, drifting out wide too often. It just didn't work for Kyle Larin up top. And unfortunately, I don't believe he should have got the armband compared to someone like Derek Cornelius or Dane St. Clair and Jonathan Osorio. But it was all in all for me, and a performance that we saw was a key of learning many position battles, where Adekubi fits in that depth chart, how well Joel Waterman can play when he rises to the occasion if he has the opportunity, where Jaden Nelson sits in this leaderboard, how good Jonathan Osorio still is, where Kyle Larin and Daniel Jebison fit on the depth chart. We learned many position battles, which was very key, which was very important. And that was what was mattered. In a friendly, in a big game against the champions of Africa, the fact that we learned many position battles, the fact that we learned where many players lie on the depth chart, well, getting a result, getting a draw, and for me, the key, bending, but not breaking, not folding. And that is my key. That is where I'm going to leave it off today. Let me know your thoughts on the match. What was your big takeaway from this game? How did you feel about some of the position battles on the pitch? Let me know your general thoughts in the comments, guys. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate it. Let me know down below in the comments. Smash that like button, guys. It really helps with the content as well as the channel. Make sure that sub button, guys, as we continue to push towards 700 subscribers and a major landmark for the channel. And I truly appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.